All right, peoples, welcome to the Even People Show. Welcome to the Even People Show. You know what? I had a guest on the show last week, and sometimes I be forgetting how much fun I have when I have guests on the show. I had a lot of fun with my guests last week. I'm gonna have a good time with my guests this week as well. If this is your first time joining the show, or I'm just gonna do it anyways, welcome to the show. My name is Mark Matthews. I'm an author. I write books and whatnot. One of my published books is called Love Life Confrontation Expressions, Selections from the Chronicles of a Black Man. I'll always remind you about that, just in case, for whatever reason, you're not sitting on your own copy at home, man. You know what I mean? I got to remind you to go get that so that you can also know what's what. Tonight, I'm going to talk about that later. Tonight, I have a very special show for you. About, I don't know, how was it? It was just about a year or so ago, or a little over a year ago. I had some people on here. I think Louise was the one I had on first. You see, here's the thing. Hopal, this lady's checking in from the Cayman Islands. So Wi-Fi works in the Cayman Islands. I don't know what to tell you. So you're Mommy Linez need to figure out her Wi-Fi situation. But I had some guests on here last year. There were two people that I had on. There was a young man named Nathan Hines who had just done very well. He got grade ones in chemistry, physics, and biology, and was an aspiring heart surgeon, is what he was going to do. The other person that I had on there was Hopal Richards. Now, Hopal was at the time just dubbed the top food and nutrition student in the Caribbean, not Jamaica, not the Cayman Islands, not St. Lucia, but in the Caribbean. And she had, at the time, she had 7 grade ones and 3 grade twos for all the subjects that she did. She had aspirations at the time of attending Johnson and Wales University in North Carolina. She had actually gotten accepted into the university, had a partial scholarship, and we were talking about a GoFundMe that she had set up to try to meet the remainder of the cost so she could attend the university of her dreams and, in fact, achieve the objectives that she had set herself for her life. Now it's a year later. School is on, school is running, and it's time to catch up with Hopal. Hopefully we get Linez, her mom, on here as well. Powerful lady, prayer warrior, all the time. Hopefully we get her on. If we don't, Hopal represents well. She represents herself well. She represents her mom well. And without going any further, I'm going to have Hopal on the show with me. Hopal Richards, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing okay.
It is good to have you. I know you said you were coughing or had something going on. You still look like you're fast asleep. But
I'm wide awake, I promise. I'm wide awake.
there we go. There we go. So there's just a couple of things that I want to find out, because there's one more thing I didn't mention. I was rewatching our show last night, and there was one thing that stood out, two things that stood out actually. One of them being you always try to do the best you can. That was one thing that you stood behind, that you always tried to do the best you can. And at the time when you decided to set up the GoFundMe, you kind of realize that closed mouths don't get fed. Like if you want something, you have to reach out there and go for it, or you just might not get what it is that you want. And sometimes reaching out can in fact get you what you want. So last year we had dreams and hopes and aspirations. Tell me what has happened since.
Okay, so Martin, last year when I was on your show, I was really, you know, expressing to you how I really wanted to go to Johnston and Wales, and at the time it was about May, I believe, was it?
It was about me right around this time.
And how it seemed far fetched, but in my mind I was like, one way or another, this was gonna be what was I was gonna do. This was what I was gonna go for, and eventually, coming on to August, I didn't start school. I deferred until the spring. And that was a really rough time for me because never in my life have I ever taken a gap anything, a gap year at this. So it's weird to see everybody moving on,
Hmm.
people posting, moving into their dorms, going to class, and
Wow.
you're at home. Well, I was at work, but
Hmm.
you're at work and you're like, did I make the right choice?
Yep. Now that was now. How did that? What happened with the scholarship? Was the scholarship still in place? Did you lose the scholarship as a result of that, or were you still able to have that available to you when you were ready?
Well, they said once I had come in within 1 year of my acceptance date,
Hmm.
that it would have still been intact. If
Okay.
I had deferred past a year, I would have had to reapply.
Okay. So I'm guessing the scholarship plus the GoFundMe didn't quite get us all the way we needed to get to.
No, Martin, it didn't.
It's I know it's so I know how it is. I know how it is. People typically they are great at talking about things. They are
Mm,
great at talking, everything when it comes to things. Even me, like publishing a book and stuff. You would think with all the people I know, my books should just like fly off the shelves,
yeah.
and they didn't. I sold books, sold lots of books, but the way you kind of think, okay, because it's a good thing and it's great, everybody would just jump around it.
That's it.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't go like that.
Yeah, because a lot of time I spent on social. Personally, I have been discouraged by a lot of people. People that I never even spoke to in so long made it their point of view to discourage me. And I really took a hit. And then sometimes you go on social media and you see other people with their GoFundMe's, and some get money, some don't.
Hmm.
But then when sometimes you're like, oh, everybody gives her money, but nobody wants to give me any. What did I do?
Hmm.
And then it's another case where people are like, oh, these people have these impossible dreams and are depending on society to fulfill them for them.
Right.
And so, in both ways, it can swing, it can kind of swing your mind.
But that was not the actual case in your case, though. It,
No,
it, it might have made you stumble, but it didn't make you fall.
no, because as I stated, um, whether it was, I don't know, we have the saying by the hook or the crook, I knew what I wanted for myself. So even when I would go to work, so I would go to work and work 11-hour shifts.
Hmm.
Never have I ever thought that I would be able to do that physically.
Now,
I used
where
to work
was that? Where was that? Here was that? Where was that?
in Jamaica. I used to work at a call center.
Okay.
So
The
going to
same, the
work,
same one Nathan. The same one Nathan was at.
I'm not. I don't think so.
Okay.
So I used to go there and pardon. At first, it was rough. Like it took a toll on my body. When I was there, I got sick. Like I was covered in a rash from head to toe,
Wow.
and I was physically uneasy. But I knew what I wanted, and I was like, I'm here to try to see what I can do for myself to propel myself because there's still fees to be paid. You have to pay the visa fee, and you have to the plane ticket. You have to buy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, anything that you want in life, you have to work hard for it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people get it on a spoon, some people get it on a fork, some people don't get it at all.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to you now to say, well, am I going to just relax because I don't get it, or am I going to find the spoon for myself?
Mm-hmm. And I can appreciate that. I can definitely appreciate that because, and I can only imagine after being the top student in the Caribbean, it's almost like it's a high, it's a rush. Like you're seeing yes, and then to have your dreams like they fall flat like that, you really have to dig inside yourself to even get up and keep moving. You know what I mean?
You really do.
I tell the story all the time, Hopal, of getting fired from my first job on the first day. At the
Wow.
end of the first day of my first job, I got fired. The lady told me I'm not what they're looking for. And I was like, no, this can't be happening. Um, Short version, I talked my way back into the job on the spot, and 2 weeks later, I was promoted to supervisor. So
Wow.
it's like if you allow yourself to actually stay down when you're down or when these situations come up that would make you like leave you dazzling, like, why is this happening? I've worked so hard to get here. Why is it that after I've taken the first step, all these barriers are all of a sudden in my way? If you let that dazzle you, you will stay down.
You
But you
will.
did not.
No. So eventually, I when I went to work, I didn't really talk to many people, and I didn't really. If you didn't know me and what I was about before, you really wouldn't have a good sense of me as a person. Because
They
I
would they wouldn't know you're a top celebrity. They
no,
didn't
because
know they
I
wouldn't shake your hand when they see you walk in, right?
yeah, I think eventually a few people caught on based on like work ethic,
Mm-hmm.
but like and people ask you what high school you used to go to, and you say, oh, you go to Immaculate, and people are like, what are you doing here? So it's like, but in that job, it really taught me a lot about life. I was working for an American company, so even while sitting at home, well, not at home, at work, well, at home in Jamaica, I really
Mm-hmm.
learned a lot about credit and money and all of that. So when I look back now, I think of it, well, maybe it's just preparing, because when you get the knowledge of finance from a financial company,
Mm-hmm.
it really turns around. Like you might, because your mother might tell you, oh, you need good credit. But like when you see it from the perspective where people are scrambling because they don't have it or stuff like, you get a greater sense of appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's more knowledge for me because this is the country that I'm seeking to enter.
Right.
So eventually, closer to the end of the year, I resigned my job. And I scrambled around getting stuff done, and eventually I left. My visa appointment was maybe around November. I was very nervous. I was shaking like a leaf because I'm like, Lord, I cannot come this far, spend this money, and come out of this place crying today because I
Right.
don't know what I'm going to do with myself.
Right.
And at the time, my mother was not in Jamaica, so it's not like I have somebody to go home to baby me. I have to tough it up.
You have to tough it out. Yes. Sometimes it be like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, you have to tough it up. It was either A or B. I sat, I studied the questions, I YouTube, I met my cousin cook me from morning till night. There was no question anybody could ask me that I was not prepared to answer that morning.
Right.
And when I went in the line, oh, it's such a pain when you start seeing people getting denied in front of
Yeah,
you. It really gives you
it's
the
rough.
shirt.
It's rough.
And when I saw the lady deny a little child, I was like, Lord.
A little. Oh my word. No, that line is rough. I've been in that line. That line. I've been there once and it was rough.
Yeah, so if you need to look at this cute little child, you say, if somebody can deny a child,
Yes. What chance do I have?
what chance do I? And I went up to her, and she never asked me more than four questions. Granted, there was a student at a window
Uh huh.
down the line from me.
Uh huh.
And I could hear the lady drilling me
Drilling her.
down, drilling me
Oh my
down,
word.
drilling him. And I'm like, Lord, honestly, if this officer asked me half the questions, yeah, I think I'm going to crack in here today. I don't think I can hold up to it.
Wow. Wow.
And the lady asked me 4 questions.
Yeah.
Then she just stood there looking at me. And I remember I stared them dead in the eye. Don't look away, even if your face is scratching, you just stare them dead in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
And I stood there and I stared, like we had this to stare down for like a minute.
Really.
And like she not giving me back the passport, but she not
But
saying
give it.
anything. So I'm
She
like,
see even gonna break. She's gonna break under pressure.
she's just looking at me and she just moving the passport across her desk and she typing, but she's still looking. And I'm like, well, if it's gonna happen, I need to know before I crack.
I know, right?
So she gave me the paper and I was like, yes. And I come out and I dance down Hope Road to take my taxi to go back to work. And in the whole buying of tickets, and it was a lot because sometimes you depend on people in your life to do stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
when you're continuously disappointed, after a while it's just like, you know what, forget this. If I can't do it myself, and it's kind of hard because when you're young and then you don't sometimes feel like you have a system to depend on. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
you have your mother to depend, but then she's not physically in your presence, and that can be a stretch too because you can't
Right.
call her all the time and get her
Right.
because she's at work or stuff like that. But you have available people that won't avail themselves.
Yep. I'm gonna try Linez one more time. Still no Linez. Linez, you can't say we never try.
so
Keep going. Keep going, Hopal.
so eventually everything, I pack up my bags and I went on my nuts for to Montego Bay and I left.
Nice. Nice.
So
Now, at this point, and this, when was this exactly? What month would this have been?
this would have been the ending of December. So just after Christmas, but before New Year's.
Okay, so you were going in to start school in January.
January. Mhm.
Okay, tell me how that went. Tell me how arriving and just getting set up and all that. Tell me how all of that came together.
Well, so arriving, so I didn't arrive till like maybe in the night or so. So I was
Mhm.
picked up by my family and I stayed with them for a couple of days. Because of COVID, I think when I got here, COVID had like a good breakout in North Carolina at the time.
Mhm.
So cases were rising like crazy. So the school said you had the option to move in and start online or start online at home and then move in 2 weeks time. I
Mhm.
took the
Well,
first
hang on,
option.
Hopal. Hang on one second. Let me update the people that joined late. If you're just joining the show, my guess is Hopal Richards. Hopal is Jamaican, went to Immaculate, and was ranked the number one home economics student in the Caribbean last year. She always had aspirations of going to tell me what its name now.
Johnson and Wales
Johnson
University.
and Wales University in North. This is the second time I forgot. Johnson and Wales University, North Carolina. She got a partial scholarship to attend the university. She had a GoFundMe to make up the balance. There were some issues there. She had to stay out, couldn't start in September. She had gotten in her CSEC exams, she had gotten 7 grade 1s, 3 grade 2s, worked for a little bit in Jamaica, still trying to put things together to get her into the university that she aspired to be in. And now we're at the point where she actually got the visa that was necessary. She's crossed the waters. She's now in North Carolina, and we're just getting caught up on her settling into being there. All right, continue, Hopal.
So yeah, so I took the option of starting school in the dorm online because I was saying I wanted to get more familiar with the place and so forth. So I moved in. Martin, to be honest with you, when I moved in, I had not completely settled things with my school financially because I was awaiting an unknown sum from this, what would I call it, education fund, something of the
Okay.
sort.
Mm-hmm.
But I had not received that yet. And I think, quite frankly, I never completely understood how they worked the system.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got there, say I moved in on the 6th of January. When I got there, I got an email that I need to resolve my issues by the 20th. So I was there and I went to the financial aid office and I asked the gentleman how to resolve the issues. When he told me how I had to resolve the issues, I started crying
Wow.
because I'm like, ain't no way my mother is going to come up with all this money in
Overnight like that.
14 days.
Right.
And it's like every day, I'm gonna tell the truth. You see, every day when I hear a knock on my door, I say, yes, God, the people them come to put me out now.
Oh my God.
Not the
And I
truth.
know the feeling. I know the feeling. I know. But you see, it's so funny, Hopal. It's so funny because I remember some things that I did when I just came to the States. And I only did it because I had nothing to lose. So I had nothing. So I had nothing to lose. So if it went one way or the other way, it not going to take no skin off my back because I have nothing. So if you come do whatever you got to do, it's whatever because I don't have nothing to lose. So a lot of the things I did that even got me to where I am now, I just did it because why not? I have nothing to lose. Continue, Hope.
So I was there, and one day I called my mother crying. And I was like, Mommy, I just feel like them are gonna send me down yard, Mommy. She said, Papa, why you talking like that? Me say, Mommy, you know, if you don't have the money, you know, we don't know where it will come from. Just, and I went to this meeting. You remember the prayer leader? So Mommy had a prayer meeting
Yes.
at the day that
Uh-huh.
day, and I went to the meeting. And honestly, I cannot remember the woman's name that I was speaking to before everybody came in the room. But she said, your mother told me not to cry. Let me give you a story. And that lady told me a story about the toll. And from she told, I've never forgotten that story. She said one day she started on the toll and it was the last money she had and she couldn't find the money. And remember, whether you come off where you come on, you have to pay. There's
Hit it
no
up.
way going around it.
Mm-hmm.
And she said she driving up to the toll and she still don't know how she gonna pay it. Eventually, somebody gave her money and she paid the toll. And she when she started she's like, Copal is one way in and one way out. Even if you come off back there, you still have to pay. So at the end of the day, think about it like this. You're approaching your toll and you're going to go through. You don't know how, you don't know when, you don't know who or what. But just think of the fact that you're not going on the toll to turn back. There's no turning back on a toll.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that story and I run with it and I keep it close to my heart and I say, God, there's no turning back on my toll. Because it's one thing if you wait so long to start and then take the plane. And that is why I was also very discreet about when I was leaving and when I was starting school. Because
Mm-hmm.
may I say, you know, I don't want anybody to feel like, oh, I'm on this high and mighty horse. Because
Right.
really and truly, I don't know what I'm doing in my life right now. I'm just trying to, me just do something. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is where I want to be, and everything is not concrete, but me just have to do something because people don't. I don't think people see passion without you going the extra mile. You
Right.
tell somebody that you want to go to this or you want to do that, but until they're waiting to see you sit up at midnight. Martin, I bake Christmas cakes till I sick. I bake Christmas cakes till I'm sick of it. Just to have money to buy a plane ticket, to buy clothes, to buy this, to buy that.
Mm-hmm. And people they see you, but they don't know what you had to do
And
to get
people
to where you're
that
at.
don't imagine coming home from an 11-hour shift and going over. I fell asleep many nights with cakes in oven.
Wow.
Fall
Wow.
asleep and then to turn around and then have to run behind people because people eat. And when them eat, it right there, so it finished right there. And so,
Mm-hmm.
I never wanted the people feel like, oh, me, I come a foreign and I'm hype on my bossy because really and truly, I'm just a girl just trying. I'm really just trying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have no other way out. I'm just trying. And even when I went into school, you know, the culture here is that children are a lot more, I don't want to say hype because I don't want to label all of them as that. But luxuries that they are afforded, Those things
Mm-hmm.
don't come as easy in Jamaica.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I can appreciate that.
Things don't come as easy. When somebody can get up and say, "Oh, I feel like I want to spend," let me give a random figure, $300 on a new pair of sneakers. $300.
I know.
The first thing I think is that is almost $50,000. What am I
Yep.
doing with $50,000 on a pair of shoes?
That's legal. Yep. I'm with you. I'm with you.
And it was hard in the beginning, so I kind of ostracized myself because I don't want these people to feel like I don't want them to feel I'm antisocial because I really love people. I really
Mm-hmm.
do.
Mm-hmm.
But then I don't want to integrate myself into a lifestyle that I can't keep up with.
Right.
I want to be me, and I want people for to be
And that is
accept.
important. That is important. That is important because a lot of people run them life into all kind of problems trying to do just that. Trying to do just that.
Yeah, keeping up with things that they can. So I came and I started and I went to school, and eventually the bill did sort itself out ish.
It kind of sort of get sort out.
Yeah. And when you're a person that walks by faith, ish is just good enough. Ish is just good enough. So I
Mm-hmm.
go and you know, people gift me pardon. People gift me here and there, and sometimes you don't think about the added cost of coming to school that's
Mm-hmm.
outside of the one on paper. I'm sorry for some 1 second.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I can give you a second if you want. You good?
Yeah. So
Okay.
when I came here, it was like, oh, you have to pay for this software to do the math homework. You have to pay for this software to do this homework. You have to pay for this book. You have to pay for that book. And I'm like, what?
Yep. Nobody. That was not in the brochure.
That was not in the brochure. So
Mm-hmm.
then I start, and I remember I reached to this point where there was this textbook for $165.
Mm.
And to be very honest with you, Martin, I had the money, could have buy the book. But I was so convinced not to buy the book. And me start think about the rental, I'm gonna go to class. And one thing about me, if I don't have the material to do the work, you'll never know because I'm gonna make it happen one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
I never had the book, but I read the notes till thy kingdom come, and I do the test, and I still get a good grade because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna leave my yard to come here come farm fool. I was never
Well,
farming
I'm
fool.
gonna talk about your grades. I'm gonna talk about your grades here in a minute. I'm gonna let you get to where you're talking about grades before I talk about grades. But go ahead.
So I walked up to the teacher and I said to her, Miss, well, doctor, um, I really don't have the money to buy this book. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really don't because when I'm thinking of it now, I'm like, this money that I have, I could save this to buy something to eat. I'm coming from a tropical country. I need more winter clothes.
Mm-hmm. It's cool.
It's cold because I'm coming up in the height of winter.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she said to me, follow me to my office. And she gave me her book.
Wow.
She gave me her book. And when I left that day, I said, God, they said they can't give me her book and me come fail our class. That don't make no sense.
That don't make no sense.
That don't make no sense.
But and the funny thing of it too, though, Hopal, is this: it's just like you said before. If you said nothing, you'd have gotten nothing.
Exactly. If I had sat there and be like, oh, I don't have the book, I'm so sorry for myself. Because trust me, I've heard people talk, oh, they purchase textbooks. Because I have friends and they say, oh, they buy the textbooks for their classes and they don't use it. But she never give me that book, dog, eat my supper.
Okay, you needed
Because
it.
you need the book.
Yeah.
You need the book. There's no going around. You need the book.
Well, you spoke up and you got a book.
Um, just like that, I became more, when I realized that I could set myself and then people would understand that I might not be on the same things that you try to do or keep up. That's not me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm growing up in a church home. I don't go to parties. I don't do crazy stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe jump off of a bridge with a rope at the river. Maybe things like that I call crazy. But to say go out in these hours of the night, and
Yeah.
I never forget. And I'm confessing this now, and my mother is probably gonna hear this. There's a 7-Eleven just a stone throw
From his
from my,
dad. Mm.
and one morning, one bright, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. My roommate, Hopal, 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 Hopal. I want the eyes but afraid. I said, girl, what you doing? If I was back home, I would never dare even open the window at this time of the night.
Right.
And she asked me for follow her. And I said, girl, don't play. And I said, all right, if them are gonna kill you,
Oh God.
make the two of we try see if we can fight them off. You have the pepper spray, and make we see how this is gonna work. But
Mm-hmm.
she walking on the road so confidently. I thought, and I am walking and looking over my shoulder, like who will jump out of the corner somewhere and lick the two away.
That's not. How did that work out?
I mean, we got to the 7, but when we came back, I said, "Don't you dare wake me up out of my bed ever again to
Yep.
go anywhere at this hour in the
What
morning."
did she need?
Ice.
Ice. Yeah, nah. I ain't going out like that, player. I ain't going out
Ice.
like that.
And I was like, but then that opened my eyes to the fact that it's so weird how some people are cultured. Like we walk and look over our shoulders because
Mm-hmm. It's
that's what we
necessary.
do.
It's
It's
necessary in
necessary.
some parts of where we come from.
Yes, it's
Mm-hmm.
necessary. Like I
Mm-hmm.
would walk with my phone in my back pocket here, but I would never dare do that at home.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
Because
Nope.
by the time I get home, I have no phone.
By the time you get home, once that one, when they call it one of them, when they call the bike them, the
Yang yang,
one yang pass you and the bike
and you're
and the
gone with
phone
your phone,
gone.
and the phone gone. So then it
Yep.
opened my mind to say that not everybody lives with their guard up.
Mm-hmm.
Not every, and I was like, this is so strange, but it's comforting to know you don't always have to look over. But I still do it because that's just me.
No, it's
But
you stick to what you know. You hear me? You stick to what you know, Hopa.
I still do it. But it's like people don't have this heightened sense of oh somebody's gonna steal my things, or somebody's gonna hit me or take me away, or so it was very comforting to know that even though I'm not gonna go at 2 o'clock in the morning again, I don't have to. I can still be very cautious, but
Mm-hmm.
the evident fear that you'd have to walk with, especially as a lady, you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to. You don't have to be so balled up or so.
Mm-hmm.
You have to develop this
Yeah,
temper.
because everybody
Because
knows that 911 works here. 911 works. If you
yes,
accidentally dial it, the cops are coming.
yes,
So yeah, when everybody kind of has that consciousness, it kind of raises the level of safety and security just in general terms. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So tell me about like dorm life, like just being in dorm, living outside of Jamaica. You mentioned it briefly, just dealing with the different cultures that I know you're coming upon while you're there.
I think the major thing a lot of people talk about is food. So I'm gonna talk about food last.
Okay.
So dorm life, as I was saying, different cultures, different things, man, different things. It is when I came here, I was made aware that not everybody loves to bathe. Let me just say that.
Oh boy.
And it's weird because now you're living with people, and if somebody says to you that showering twice a day is excessive, look at them like they have horns. Look at them as if they have horns.
Yep.
So when I came here, I didn't really realize that it was like you hear people say things, but you're like, oh, maybe it's just one and two people, and people are just being dramatic because we can be very extra sometimes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But when I saw it, when I lived it, well, I'm going to have to live it next semester too, but when I live it, I'm like, this cannot be real. You wake up and it's like back home, your mother say, get up and spread up the bed. You
Mm-hmm.
might not do it same time, but it is still ingrained in you that if you don't
The
spread the
bed
bed,
needs to.
somebody's gonna say something.
Mm-hmm.
when you spread the bed now, you might see you go somewhere in another room, or even if you're in your room and you see say somebody don't spread them bed, you start kind of look at them strange.
You're like, what's good? You're not spreading the
Like,
bed?
what's
Like,
going
what's
on?
up?
When you're not spreading the bed, what's happening? And then
Hmm.
cleaning is another thing. Everybody has a different style of cleaning. You will come to college and you have the roommate meeting and you say, yes, Anna is gonna clean the sink, Martha is gonna clean the shower, and so is gonna wipe the floor. When you check it out and you wanna wipe the floor.
Nobody
So
not know.
nobody not do nothing. But then you have to think about the fact that you live there and it's gonna affect you. Personally,
Hmm.
I had a nice case of ringworm. That is when I realized the
I
shower
didn't
was
even know
toxic.
reverb still existed.
Exactly. I never know either. I never catch that in my life.
You come my people, them good foreign country.
Come my people, good fine, come catch ringworm.
Good gosh.
And that
Hmm.
is when I said, it pains me to take these matters into my hands because I don't feel like I should be living with others and I am their maid. They cannot pay me.
Right. Right.
But I had to pull up my big girl socks and say, it's either I'm going to live in the rat's nest with them or I'm going to clean up the nest on my stake. So, if there's somebody listening to this and you have a child that's going off to college, whether abroad or in Jamaica, because these people are
Yes,
everywhere.
Jamaica too. Jamaica too.
These people
Hmm.
are everywhere.
Yep.
Everybody can go to see
I
them.
lived on a dorm. I lived in a dorm here too, and it was different. Yeah, what you said about the showering and people having when you think everybody's opinion of showering falls in the same category, you realize that there are very vast opinions as to how and when showers should be taken. It's different. It's different.
Exactly. It's very different, and then those things are not a case when you can say don't put the box in the corner. You can't really look at somebody and say my girl or my youth, you need to go and shower because then
You
that can
can't.
be harassment or all the red
Hmm.
tapes, red lines. You just have to mess with it
Hmm.
and leave it alone. So that was one thing that I was not a big fan of. But
Right.
I learned eventually that it's a new culture, it's new people. You just either have to accept them as they are or do what you can do to make this livable for you.
What about missing
And
home?
missing home, oh Lord. Sometimes I sit and I'm like, wow, I really wish I could just be on a plane in Jamaica. Not to stay forever, but just to
Tell your phone to stop playing. You're sideways now. I can't hear you, Hopal. Mic check one. Hang on. There you go. All right. Hopal is having some technical difficulties. When she comes back, when I see her back, I'll add her. But yeah, that's Hopal Richard, folks. I I met her a year ago, and like I said, she's now at the university that she aspired to be at. She got a partial scholarship that got her a part of the way. She's walking us through some touch and go moments really that she had to undergo as she was, you know, trying to get her sea legs and just getting what she needed to even be able to attend this school, though she got the scholarship to go there. What I want to point out that she mentioned is, sometimes when we have these causes, and her cause was a legitimate cause, it was a good cause, it was a righteous cause. Essentially, this girl was the top home economics student in the Caribbean and got a scholarship to come to a top university here in the US for her field, and simply was not able to provide the funding necessary to get there. And this happens to people all the time. I mean, where you have the ability, you have the drive, you have the want to go out there and get it, but some of the other basic things that you need are just not available to you. And I wanted to bring Hopal back on the show today, which we're doing now, just to let you understand that, hey, sometimes, and if somebody out there knows somebody out there, hey, don't, if you, the opportunity sometimes is not going to line itself up in a straight line. Sometimes not all the I's are going to be dotted or all the T's crossed. Sometimes you will actually have to run and jump. Sometimes you're going to have to jump, and sometimes you might not even see where you're going to land when you jump. But you have to trust that you're going to fall back on solid ground and you jump again when the time is necessary. So, and this is not just for college university students. Sometimes it is us with our lives. Sometimes we actually have to take a risk. Sometimes we have to take a chance. We have to hope. And if as far as I understand faith, this is how it is supposed to work. I think Hopal is back. So here we go. Hopal, there we go.
Yes, I've had some technical.
Nope, no worries. I can improvise my life away. Don't worry about it. All right. So we were talking about the missing home is where we were.
Yes, missing home. Like some days I would sit in the windowsills. I have a perfect view of the city.
Mhm.
So sometimes I would sit and I'd sit there and I wonder like if I was home, what would I be doing today? Or thinking about going out with my friends and kiki and maybe roaming the city or going out to eat or the beach or something. And then when you
Mhm.
live in a city where the beach is 3 hours away,
Ouch.
yeah. And when that's the element that you used to thrive in, that you used to love, that's kind of a lot for you. And
Hmm.
then there's no pool at school either. So it's
Oh,
not like you have a replica or something close.
right.
And then when I came here, I didn't speak a lot of Patois at first because I got very upset when I was trying to make a simple sentence and nobody
And
could
they just
understand.
don't understand.
And it's like, I am speaking so clear. Why don't you understand? So,
Yep.
seeing that I used to work for an American company, an American accent didn't come hard.
Hmm.
So, me just work with it. And
Right.
somebody said to me one day that you're trying, when I told somebody I was Jamaican, they were like, I don't believe you. I said, what do you mean you don't believe me? They said, you don't talk like a Jamaican. I said, because you guys don't understand.
Understand me when
Very,
I can talk like a Jamaican,
I
but if
can.
I did,
And
yep.
when I let out a sentence, they were like, huh? And I was like, that is why I don't speak like that.
No, and sometimes too, I think people don't get it. Like back in Jamaica, they say your tongue on people. It's not. You're not really. It's so funny. I was at work. I'll tell you something real quick. I was at work and I got a phone call. So because I'm at work, I answered the phone the way I would sound at work. My friend that had called, he was calling from Barbados, and he says to me, "My youth, who you think you talk to?" And I said, "My bad. I hadn't made the switch yet, right?" And then I go talk to him outside. I come back inside, and the first thing I say to the first person there was more Jamaican than not. And the person looked at me and said, "Huh?" All I heard was my name. I'm like, and they don't get it. If even if there's a little hint of it, they just don't understand.
They don't, even when you're speaking the English as straight as possible, they just don't get it. And I'm like, I know there's an accent, but I just don't understand how you do. So even when I was in class, like if I didn't tell people I was Jamaican, they wouldn't outright get it. But in a moment of frustration,
When
mm,
Jamaican, when patois comes out,
one day a guy was like, what did you say? Are you okay? I was like, I'm just fine. It's just you guys are getting on my nerves.
mhm. No, yeah, I go back to my when I'm frustrated, like you said, I go back to my default settings. So yes, the Jamaican is gonna come out. The Jamaican is gonna come out if my default settings kick in when I'm tired or hungry. I go back to factory settings. And factory settings is patois. Factory settings is Jamaican. Hmm.
But and then so not being able, and then sometimes you can't get your point across the way you'd like to without a little patois. So it's like
Yep.
it's not like you struggle to express yourself, but you can't really get it out the way you'd like to.
Right.
But that's another thing. And then food. Last but definitely not least, food. Coming here, I for the first 2 weeks I ate fries every day because that is the only thing I could find that I would put to my mouth.
Fries. Wow. Wow.
And then one day, somebody told me I ate like a 5-year-old. I said to them, I don't eat like a 5-year-old. You guys don't provide anything for me to eat.
Hmm. I mean, backed into a corner here.
Yes, like there's only so much I can do. And then I'd say,
Mm-hmm.
I had to come in myself and I'm like, eating these fries and the pizza and so forth, this is making me feel very slow.
Mm-hmm.
Because I no, it's like my brain is just
You have to find an you have to find a Caribbean store. I'm with you. You with me? Can't hear you. Say something. Still can't hear you. You ready? I can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. All right. I missed that. I lost her for a second. All right, but I hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. Hope it is a riot. And like I've put her on the spot with several of the questions. There's nothing scripted about the show today. And she answered, and I think I might actually have her stay on for the poetry part of the show too, just because I feel like I can put her on the spot and she will actually deal with herself like she has been doing so far. But I hope somebody, because we're going to talk about funding next after she wraps up with the food. All right, she's back. Let's get Hopal back. All right, you ready?
yes.
Ready go? Ready? Ready go?
Yes, I'm ready to go. So it's like
Yes.
I have to get in myself and understand that even though this is what is being provided, I have to find something healthy to eat because you
Mm-hmm.
go into school, weight gain is a whole other thing, a
Mm-hmm.
whole other thing. And just eating fries every day is not going to cut it. You never do this back home, and obviously it's taking a toll on it. The good
Mm-hmm.
thing was that I had family that I could go home to on the weekends. So,
Mm-hmm.
like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was sure of a decent, something
Mm-hmm.
decent to
Are you
eat.
allowed to cook in your dorm?
Yes, you are, but there was one kitchen in the building.
Ah.
So it's like, first of all, when you go there, there's a limit of the amount of people that can be in the kitchen. And if
Mm-hmm.
somebody gets the key before you,
You're out of
personally,
gas.
you're already out. Technically, my ID card could have opened the kitchen, but if you're caught in there without the physical key, that's a problem. So it's like, if and then I'm not going to jump up when I come out of class at 7:45 to run and go cook when I've been cooking for 6 hours. That's a
Right.
lot.
Right.
So when eventually I started to kind of feed my way around, some days it wasn't so good. Some days I just drink my tea and go to my bed, eat bread,
Mm-hmm.
call it a day. Somebody told me something that if college students don't have money for anything else, they have money for food. And I found that to be very true.
Yep. I was a ramen king. I was a ramen specialist.
And I
Like I
never
can
look
make you
back.
some gourmet. I can make you some gourmet ramen. Can I tell you? I'm like a ramen king.
The supermarket, I find myself, I had to find something. And
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people there are a lot of things we say we wouldn't eat, but when you reach here and the hungry bus you, and that's all you have, you go eat it.
Yeah. Yep.
And then when people say it's Jamaica Day and then you eat the curry and the curry brown, that's a whole
Ouch. Ouch.
that's a whole other thing. Because mentally you're like, this is not curry, this
This
is
is not
brown.
how this is supposed to look. This don't look right.
Don't look right. And then you have some people like, oh my God, this is so delicious. And then I learned to stop taking people's opinion on food a long time. Early.
Yeah.
I learned that
Mm-hmm.
early.
Mm-hmm.
Was the cat food good today? Oh, it was good, it was delicious. I say I have to go down there go see that for myself. I'm
Yeah.
not taking nobody.
I hear you. But here's it. Well, I have a couple more things that I want us to look at. I just something just slipped my mind, but let me go to what I have here. So I'm gonna talk about funding. I have to talk about funding because that's a part of how the world works. Before I
Mm-hmm.
actually go into the funding part of it, I want to make our viewers aware of just how you have been doing so far. So for the first semester or first semester, let me see, one, two, three, four, five, six subjects is what I see here.
Mm-hmm.
And I see culinary 1100. That's introductory to culinary skills and techniques. She has an A plus. We have culinary 1210, which is breakfast and lunch cafe. She has an A. SFM 1165, which is the food safety manager, she has an A plus. FSM 2007, which is food and beverage technology and application system, she has an A plus. FSM 2045, introduction to menu planning and cost control, she has an A plus. Math 1002, which is a survey of college mathematics, she has a B plus. So almost like last time, when you had your in CSEC, you had your 7th grade 1s and your 3 grade 2s. You're pretty much acing all your classes right now with A's, B pluses, and 1 B plus. So I'm gonna, before I even say anything about funding, I want to say to the folks out there, Hopal, after the fact, I don't know if you still have the GoFundMe up or what access you have. But I think we should reach out to the folks that are even viewing now, that if this lady has got a scholarship, partial scholarship, she figured it out. She's in North Carolina currently. She's attending university, and she's chasing down her dream every which way she knows how. And if there's anyone out there that can, you can contribute through me. If you know me, reach out to me. I'll reach out to Hopal and we'll get something going, because this is how it works. This is the only way it works. You know what I mean? She might not be a niece or nephew that gonna run into you on the road and say uncle so and so or auntie so and so, but here she is nonetheless. And in the age of social media, this is how it's done now, and we are doing it, and Hopal is doing it, and we need to meet her halfway. All right, and I lost her again. So yes, I'll just keep going with that. But yeah, if you're out there and you can, because when she was on the show last time, I was hoping for her, with the GoFundMe, that somebody would have just come and swept the whole thing away. You know, like someone would just come with a big lump sum and say, "Hey, I can meet this need. I'm going to meet this need. I'm just gonna provide, even if it was the first year, you know what I mean, that she could actually, get off the ground." Like she mentioned earlier, she had to push her start date back. So she missed the fall semester. She started in the spring semester in January, and she has straight A's essentially. She has 1 B plus, which is, hey, my mom would have do backflips if I came home with all A pluses and 1 B plus. What? And this is what she's walking with in another country, in a new university, with everything that she has going on. Let me add her back. Mommy Linez looks like she's giving up on joining the show. I see her on YouTube now. I said, "Go Hope up, go for it. You'll win it all." And I'm with you on that one, Linez. I'm with you when you're right. So Hope, you were saying, talk to me about funding. Where are we at?
Well, where we at now? I still have, pardon, I still have a balance for the semester that has finished.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm looking forward to the next one to come up.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, now I have deadlines to meet for about July.
Mm-hmm.
When I came here, I was seeking out a loan, but in learning how America's loan system is, it's not just like back home where you just go to a company with a job letter and you work 2 salary reductions. Credit is such a thing.
Mm-hmm. And you don't have no history.
No history from. I mean, currently I'm in the process of building a history, but that history would not be
It's
substantial.
gonna take a minute. Is the GoFundMe still alive? Is that
It's
link
still
still alive?
alive. I would have to send you the link.
Yeah, send it in. You can just put it in the comments, and you can do it after as well. But if you get a chance, put it in the comments in the for all of the shows. Put it on the YouTube comment. Put it on the Facebook comment.
Okay.
Um, just so the folks that are on here that are able and willing to, they can see what they can do toward the bigger picture as well. All right.
Okay. So, with regards to that, I think personally, I tried my best to seek out people I think or thought could help me.
Mm-hmm.
I've met quite a few people that even in the little that they have, they still look out for me, and I appreciate that. And my
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
family members have stepped up in where they could. I mean, I know it's a big bill and it's a big dream.
Mm-hmm.
I applied for scholarships, but the other tricky thing is that at the time that a lot of them are open, I was just a freshman, like
Right.
first semester. So you don't really have a GPA. So now you have to go off of the word of your recommendations
Right.
and just people. thinking about what you are. Pardon.
People's assessment of who you are and whether or not they think you're worth taking a chance on.
But exactly, and people don't really like to take a lot of chances with, especially when it comes to scholarship. They like to be very certain that their investment is made and it's made good. Currently, I'm still in the scholarship cycle in terms of applying and receiving. I get rejections. I work with them and I say, okay, I just have to pull back and go again. I haven't gotten an well, offer this cycle as yet, but I'm still trusting and hoping. Another thing in the cycle of the scholarships here, a lot of them want you to be a permanent resident or a citizen,
Mm-hmm.
and I am not one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes in my heart, I still think, give it a try because you never know. So I
Right.
do. So I still do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot sometimes when you think and you sit down, and especially when you are around people and they seem to have no problem in paying their school bill. And currently, a lot, even friends I have back home, Martin, they don't know the vast. They don't know the half because I don't
Yeah.
talk about
Right. Right. No, I get
it.
you.
And it's not that I don't talk about it out of pride, but it's just sometimes you don't want to be known as the person always with a need.
Yeah, no, I feel it. I understand it.
So I talk about it in jokes, but I always try to frame it in a positive light in terms
Mm-hmm.
of this
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm hoping for, and this is what is gonna happen. Not in a oh this is my sad story.
Right. And if anybody, I'd say this here, if anybody that's out there that knows funds that are available that can be applied for, or even businesses that this is kind of something that they would get behind, just put the information out there. Put it out there so Hopal can access it. Get me the information. I'll get her the information. So that if there's something that help herself, kind of a thing, essentially. Because knowledge is power, and sometimes you just don't know what is out there. Sometimes you just don't know what's available. And if you know more than we know, let us know so that help us to get to where we're trying to get to. Help Hopal get to where she's trying to get to, just by providing her with the knowledge, and then she can seek it out once she know where to go.
So and so that's fish funding. I did try to secure a job where I
Mm-hmm.
did get a job. Um, it doesn't pay much because I can't work
Mm-hmm. Full-time school can't do full-time job on top of it. That's a lot for anybody. These technical difficulties are fun, aren't they? All right, I lost Hopal again. Let me remove her for a sec. Yeah, but like I was saying, if y'all out there, you know stuff, you know people, you know places, that'll get behind something of this nature, put it out there. Let's know what it is. Let's see if we can put Hopal in touch with some people that can help her reach his goal, because we're just talking about one semester here. We're just talking about the first year. College is several years, what I mean? So we need something sustainable, because um think about how awesome it would be to find out, in a few years when she's graduating. She's gonna get the GoFundMe link on there. Shauna K. Linez, if you have Linez, if you're still watching, if you have access to the GoFundMe, put it in the link, on either put it in the comments either on YouTube, um, and put it in the link in the comments on Facebook as well, so we can have access to that. Hopeful, if even while you're off now, if you can still hear me, and you have access to that, just go ahead and do that, so that the folks that are out there that are willing and able to contribute, will be able to do so, so that we can give you whatever help that we can to get you to this dream that you're working on. And like I said, I'm utterly impressed with the fact that the grades that she's getting, in spite of everything that is not going according to plan, the grades that she's getting, those are working. Yeah, straight A plus, 1B plus. Yeah, that's no joke. That is no joke. I think she's back on. I'm gonna give her a second to make sure that she's ready. When she gives me the thumbs up, then I'll add her back to the screen here. Um, Well, Hopal, we gonna help you get somewhere. We're gonna help you work this out here. My viewers are good peoples. I can vouch for them. All right, you ready? Thumbs up if you are. She's still all right. Thumbs up. Here we go. Welcome back, Hopal.
Yeah, I had to
You're on,
change my
you're on
device.
tour. You're
Pardon?
on. I say you're on tour. You're on tour. You're one device, another device.
Yeah. But so with all that, I still am hopeful because even in being among people where they have no problem paying their bills, because I have quite a few friends from the Caribbean, but they are from countries that their dollar is a lot better than the one that we have at home.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's not as a stress. But and sometimes you hear them talking, you're like, oh Lord, I wish, I wish. But then in everything I give thanks because I feel some people get a story to tell, some
Mm-hmm.
people don't. So when
Mm-hmm.
you have a story to tell, your story is for you and somebody else.
True.
So if you have been given the privilege to tell that story, live it and tell it.
Amen to that. You got
Live
my
it and
vote. You got my vote. Now, I'm going to ask you before we wrap up about advice. If there is someone thinking about attending a university in the United States that is in Jamaica right now, if there's somebody embarking on anything similar to what you had to go through or what you have gone through so far, what advice would you give to them? I think your mom just sent the GoFundMe link. Let me see if she was sent it to me or if she put it or she sent it to me. Okay, I will put it in the comments. But what advice would you give to them? What advice do you have?
well, first of all, I want to say it's not a bed of roses. It's not what people necessarily paint it out to be. First of all,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, you hear me? Okay. It's not a bed of roses in terms of it's not necessarily what you think it is or what the movies are like or the even the college tour video. It's
Mm-hmm.
not that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be prepared to suppress a lot of things. You can I don't want to put it into a negative light only, but you just have to be prepared that some things you can't say anymore, some things you can't mention, certain things you're just gonna have to suck it up and deal with it.
Right.
But also know that it is a very eye-opening experience to go to school in another country. You'll have the privilege to be exposed to another education system, and you can play that to your advantage, especially if you are from the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
My advice to you, if you are taking CAPE subjects, take them very seriously. They count,
Right.
especially the subjects that you are taking are still relevant in the field that you're going to do in university. Let me
Mm-hmm.
tell you, even though I did not start school in
In
August,
September. In August.
I got 15 credits just for my CAPE subjects. So
Nice.
even though I did one
That's like one
semester,
semester. That's like one semester worth of school right
that
there.
is one semester worth of school. That's one semester worth of money. And the money that you're going to pay at home to do CAPE is not
It's a
compared to
whole
what
lot less. Yes.
than
Yes.
what you're going to
No,
do here.
that's solid advice right there.
It's so take them seriously and do them well. Also, I don't want to say the work here is easier than back home. It all depends on what you do. But if you find that the work is on the easier side of things, do it and do it well. Don't be like, oh, I can get a C because I can get a C with no effort. Do it well. Because it will come back in the end. Because even if you get a scholarship to go to these schools hold you to a standard. They're not just going to give you their money for you to come there and play games. What they're trying to do is to boost their graduation rate and the overall view of the school.
Right. And if you don't
Yeah.
look like you're about that life, then they're not about what you're about.
Dip, you're going straight through the door.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're going on academic probation. And those are nobody wants anybody to sit over them and say, do this, do that. Your teacher calling me. This is not primary school.
Mm-hmm.
There's no parent teacher consultation. You are the student. You have to work to do. And missing home is something that you're going to do quite a lot. What is nice is you can develop a community around you where you can find similarities to home. I have Caribbean friends. Sometimes we eat lunch and we sit down and we discuss how these things could never happen back at home and we have a good laugh about it.
Right.
So you need a support system, especially if you know your parents are not easy access. Some people have parents that can jump on a plane anytime. Some people don't.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure, or family members around. So make sure that you find some form of support system. Also stick to your values. Don't let anybody change you. Don't let people be like, oh, she don't want to go nowhere. She this and she that. Let them say it.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, when you stay true to yourself, you feel better than coming and pretending to be something, and the same people that you're pretending for don't accept it.
Mm-hmm. True that.
Yeah. And there's one more thing I wanted to say.
Say your one more thing, my dear. Say your one more thing.
One more thing I wanted. I think I wanted to read something. So
Yes.
I made this post on Instagram, right?
Uh-huh.
And it says February 12th. I didn't post on social media about being in college until February 12th because that's the day I got my acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
So I said February 12th holds such a special place in my heart for more than one reason. 1 year ago, I was accepted to the school of my dreams, but then the reality struck. I couldn't afford it. Regardless of the cost, I was bent on heading there. I prayed and had faith, but I worked too. I opened a little business. I had my pop-up kitchen where I sold meals. I had a fish fry. I got a job. A teacher in high school once told me, anything you want in life, borrow, beg, buy, but don't thief. When August came and I couldn't start at JU, I fell into deep depression. I was sad seeing so many move on to the next level while I was at home wondering if I had made the right choice. But for every doubt I had, I received encouragement and confirmation through friends, family, and the Word of God. Today, February 12th, that was February
Mm-hmm.
12th, just gone,
Mm-hmm.
I stand right where I belong and I've never felt more at home. If you are out there with an impossible dream, remember, God is the God of the impossible, and if He is all you have, He is all you need. Thank you all for your love and your support.
Amen to that. Hopal, I really appreciate you taking the time to spend this hour with me. Um, for the viewers, I hope we really actually see if we can jumpstart that GoFundMe again and see if we can really get some donations in. And like I said, for anybody out there, if you cannot think, if you know somebody that can, and share the show with them. There's another show too. I'll find the link for that and put it in the comments for the first show. I'll probably have to cut the video and probably repost it, just so they can know who Hopal is. Because think about it now, we're talking about an outstanding individual. And when you see outstanding people, sometimes you have to do something outstanding to meet them where they're at. Sometimes you have to come out of your comfort zone to meet them where they're at. And this is one such person here before you now. And if there is something you can do to help them reach that dream, I implore you to do just that. Oprah, before I let you go, any other parting words, my dear?
Any other parting words? Well, I want to say something to my mother, even though I have her phone number, but I want everybody to hear it.
Go for it.
Mommy, I remember when I was at home in August, and I was like, I called the lady and I deferred, and I got so mad, and you sat there and you cried, and sometimes I think I'm a little on the rough side, but I think you are the one I get that from. But I just want to tell you that I love you and I appreciate every sacrifice that you make and continue to make. I know it's not easy. You moved on a country to work a job just to make sure that, it could be a little easier. It's not the best, no, but just the effort that you put into your children, we appreciate it. You could have told me, say, oh, I'll just go on and you take and leave me alone. But you stood by me all the way. You seasoned the meat. You you cut the chicken. You did everything that you could. And I just want to let you know that I appreciate that and I love you.
I appreciate that, and I love you. Opal, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best. I hope the GoFundMe just goes viral, I'm going to jump on there myself as soon as I log off here. And all the best to you, my dear. I intend to come to your graduation. So you just make sure you keep this thing going. All
Of
right.
course, because it will be 2 degrees in 3 years. I promise you that.
Two
Associates
degrees,
and bachelors.
2 degrees in 3 years. You hear that? All right, Hope. I'll take care, my dear.
You too.
All right, folks. You see, it's not every day somebody come on my show that make me not even read any poetry. I ain't even gonna read no poetry today. I'm not gonna read any poetry today. And I don't do that often. I don't do that often. I always read poetry because that's what I do on the Evening People show, but I don't even want to say or do anything to take away from what Hopal has going on here. This is what I want to stay with you. When you come off the show today, this is what I want lingering in your mind. Because, like I said, it is not every day that you come across someone that is exceptional. It is not every day that you come across someone that, at her tender age, is as driven as she is as focused as she is, and is willing to go out and do what is necessary to achieve what it is that she wants in life. A lot of us out there, people with kids, people with grandkids, people with siblings, people with nieces and nephews, would hope and pray. My mother would have, like I said, do backflips if I was coming home with all A's and B's, right? She would have do backflips. I was never that student. Maybe in university I was, but I was not that student in high school to where I'm gonna nab 7 grade 1s and 3 grade 2s. No, I was never that student. A lot of us would wish that we had anybody affiliated with us directly that did that well. And now to come to university here in the United States and still keeping that streak going, this is an exceptional young lady. Hopal Richards is an exceptional young lady. And if there is anything that you can do out there or anything you can put her onto that can help her reach her dreams and achieve her dreams and achieve the goals and aspirations that she has, I implore you to do so. Today, I implore you to do so. Now, I implore you to, when you go wherever that place is on Monday, next week, or whenever, you reach out to whoever you need to reach out to and see if you can help somebody that is a legitimate star in the making get to where they're trying to get to. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, if this was your first time watching the Evening People show, I thank you. I thank you. I thank you so much. I always like when you tune in, I always try to have something positive to give to you. I usually read some poetry on the show, but today I'm not going to read any poetry. Like I said, I don't want to take away from Hopal's message that she's trying to bring out there. I'm going to just leave it at that. But if you're on YouTube, if you follow me on Facebook, there are lots of shows. Go check something out, man. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I love y'all. But don't forget, do something with Hopal GoFundMe. Do what you can. Do what you can for Hopal's GoFundMe. This is a phenomenal young lady, and she going places. And when it's graduation time, and I go live on the Evening People show from Hopal's graduation, you should tune into the show and say, "Yes, I remember. I contributed it. I did something, and I wish you all the best." All right, that's the show, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. Join me next week. I'm supposed to have another phenomenal guest on here next week. And thank you so much. Like and subscribe on the YouTube, because that's how we keep the thing going. All right, blessings.